If you're watching this video, I'm guessing that you want to succeed in the business world. Perhaps your goal is to become the CEO of a company or even start your own business, but you're confused on the path to get there. Or maybe you're like me from a year ago and you don't know what your goals are. Well, as a fellow business student, I can relate to what you're feeling, and whenever I'm confused on my goals or perhaps how to get there, I use books as a resource. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 books that can help you get to where you want to be. So definitely stick around. Okay, so the first book on this list is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And Phil Knight is the founder of Nike. So this book is a memoir of how Nike was founded and kind of the obstacles that Phil Knight, as the founder, had to face to build Nike into the world's largest apparel brand. The book focuses on the first 10 years of Nike, so it doesn't really focus on how Nike scaled, but it does focus on the foundations of Nike up until when the company becomes public. And my biggest takeaway from this book was how difficult entrepreneurship is. In the social media era, I think entrepreneurship is glorified. You may see like a bunch of entrepreneurs on social media, like traveling around the world, and it comes across as these people not really doing a lot of work to actually build their business. But in reality, entrepreneurship is hard, especially during the first couple years of whatever business you're building, because you don't really have a team yet, so you're doing everything yourself and you're basically working on the business 7 days a week. So I think this book gives a very realistic view of what entrepreneurship is, because Phil Knight is basically working on the company every day, every hour, 24/7. And another takeaway that I had was just his persistence throughout the book. So wherever obstacle there was, he always found a way to overcome that obstacle. And I think that's the definition of being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs make things happen regardless of the circumstances. So if you've ever thought about like starting a business, or if you currently have a business, I would definitely recommend this book for you, because again, it's the story of how one of the largest companies was created. So yeah, definitely check this book out. Alright, so the next book on this list is The Third Door by Alex Banayan. So this book begins with Alex as a freshman at USC as a pre-med major, basically not knowing what he wanted to do with his life. And he knew that he wanted to become successful, but he didn't know how to get there, so he wanted advice from people that he admired, and he wanted to know how they became successful before they were who they are now. So in order to interview these people, Alex decides to hack The Price is Right. So the night before finals, he figures out how to win The Price is Right and basically wins the show the next day. From that point, he uses the money to attempt to interview the people that he admires. So people like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Maya Angelou, Larry King, etc. And I'm not going to say if he was able to interview those people, but the main point was really the lessons that he learned from trying to interview everyone. I think after reading this book, my biggest takeaway was that a lot of people limit their goals, and they also limit their actions. And so as a result, there are very few people who actually go for the top goals. So after reading this book, I realized that you have to have ambitious goals, because if you have ambitious goals, then you're going to be more excited to achieve those goals, and you're going to put in more effort and more work to achieve those goals. I would recommend this book to anyone who is not clear on their goals right now. I know I read this book during a tough period in my life, during the first semester of my freshman year, where again, I didn't really know what I was doing. We were online, so I couldn't see anyone, and it was just a really difficult period. And again, after reading this book, I realized that I shouldn't aim low for goals and that I should try a lot of new things, but then once I kind of figure out like what I want to do, I have to aim high for my goals, but also put in the necessary work to achieve those goals. Because as Alex would say, the first door are the people who pray to get into the club. The second door are the people that are born into the club, so they are already wealthy. But then there's always the third door, the people who work as hard as they can, who aim high, and who sneak into the club because they do everything possible to get into that space. Okay, so the third and last book on this list is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. So the premise of this book is that a lot of businesses don't tell good stories and don't market to their customers effectively. And they don't market well because they make themselves the hero instead of being customer centric and clarifying how they can solve their customers' problems. So this book gives a 7-step process on how businesses can market to their customers more effectively and basically tell better stories. My biggest takeaway from this book was his discussion on internal, external, and philosophical problems. So to use like Hunger Games as an example, so the external problem of Hunger Games is that Katniss has to survive the games and basically save District 12 from the Capitol. The internal problem would be, is Katniss capable of saving District 12? And is she capable of surviving? Does she have the strength to do that? Can she overcome her own self-doubt? And then finally, the philosophical problem would be like totalitarianism versus like democracy. And then of course there are other problems like good versus evil. And so basically what I learned is that businesses often focus on the external problems of their customers instead of focusing on the internal problems. And if they actually focus on internal problems, then they will be more effective with selling their products. So yeah, the book definitely explains in way more detail than I did, but that's kind of the gist. And so I recommend this book to anyone who currently has a business, or maybe you have a YouTube channel, or you're just trying to grow something and you're creating something such as a product or videos or content. Again, this book does a really good job of connecting the process of selling something and storytelling, because there is a connection between those two. Storytelling helps with selling stuff and making sure that your customers are happy. So these are the 3 books that I would recommend to every business student. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out some of my other videos on business, and feel free to like and subscribe because it helps the channel and you don't want to miss out on more business content or just videos showing life as a business student in college. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.